Stellar Blade is creating more than a fun single-player gaming experience. It's creating its own culture and community that is reminding us why we love video games. And it may as well be the spark that ignites an important shift in the gaming industry. In this video, we'll be exploring how it accomplishes just that, while being a true slap in the face of other recently released AAA games and their greedy, incompetent studios. What may strike you the moment you boot up Stellar Blade is exceptional production quality. But it's production quality for a piece of art that doesn't take itself too seriously, considering that this is going to be your point of view for the entire playthrough. And yes, what kind of world would we live in if Stellar Blade didn't find itself in a little bit of controversy? I don't want to go too deep into it, but the bottom line is that the main character is being over-sexualized, the men love it, and it's pissing a lot of people off. Normally for any developer the type of backlash wouldn't be good, but this absolute chad of a game director said this: "When it comes to the design, we put special attention on the back of the character, because the player is always facing the back of the character while they're playing. That's what they see the most of, so we thought that this was pretty important." Then doubling down and saying, "Honestly, when I play a game, I would like to see someone who is better looking than myself. That's what I want. I don't want to see something normal. I want to see something more ideal. I think that is very important in a form of entertainment. This is, after all, entertainment targeted for adults." Gamers loved this response so much to the point where not only was there no boycotting, it increased the sales and gamers were buying it just to show support. You just have to love the passion the gaming community has sometimes. It's very mind-boggling why people are legitimately angry at a man who wanted to create a project that he is passionate about. It doesn't fall into the conventional trap of other Western games, where it's offering 30-ish cosmetic outfits for free, no microtransactions, no additional new game plus, and more cosmetic outfits coming in the future with no additional cost, unless it is a collaboration with other studios and franchises. This offers a really refreshing change of pace in the gaming industry, and that's exactly what the devs wanted. A fun, action-packed game that just so happens to have an attractive female character. The fact that some people went so far to insult the gorgeous model by saying main character looks unrealistic, or certain news outlets saying that it was designed by a man who has never seen a real woman, is the exact reason why so many gamers rallied together in support of the developers, and it is the exact reason why Stellar Blade will set a new standard in gaming industry. Interestingly, where it feels like everybody has an opinion about everything. Everybody has to let you know why this video game, a movie or a music concert was bad. Not bad in terms of bad quality, no. Bad for society. And if you consume the wrong type of media, that's also bad. But what is the right way to consume a video game then? A video game is supposed to be fun, right? The bottom line is, if the game isn't fun, then don't play it and try something else. Simple. Aside from an attractive main character, Stellar Blade does offer quite a lot. I don't know if there's a winning formula for a great action game out there, but Stellar Blade sure tried hard to reverse engineer one. Do you like Bayonetta? Here, take an English lady zipping about in heels, annihilating monsters to a very pleasing soundtrack. Are you a Dark Souls fan? Rest at this camp to refill your potions, and better brush up on those parrying and dodging skills. You like God of War? How about a handful of different finishers? Is melee combat not for you? Here, have a gun. Who would have thought that picking the best things from the last several years worth of video game action and pumping it into a single campaign of relentless hacking and slashing is fun. Like really fun. It is the type of fun that turns just one more hour into it's 6 AM and I'm late for work. The main appeal with Stellar Blade is just the endless amount of options. Parrying, dodging, counterattacking, dashing, ambushing, combos and so on. Add to this over 60 different enemy types to annihilate, most with their unique attack patterns, and Stellar Blade is far deeper than its visuals. While it is deep, it's rarely stressful, thanks to a very manageable difficulty level while playing on the default normal mode. The focus here is on the incredible feeling of just tearing things apart while looking as cool as possible. The difficulty makes it that it's almost always viable to simply opt for your favorite move, rather than min-maxing and targeting an enemy weakness, or taking advantage of parrying and dodging. But of course it's not always like that. There's certainly downtime between using skills, where you need to be careful with what you do next. Or if an enemy might turn the tables around and one-shot you if you don't parry or dodge in time. And starting a fight with multiple monsters is usually a recipe for instant death. The one exception to this is boss battles, where the increased length and spectacle often forces you to think what would be the best option to use here, and increase your chances of surviving and beating the boss. They're bigger, badder, have far more health and shields, and are usually armed with attacks that cannot be easily parried or dodged. But as in other games, there's another helping hand here in the form of an instant revive that can be used multiple times across each phases. Even with the abundant use of special abilities and the generous supply of instant revives, it doesn't spoil the fun. Because in many ways, the magic is the breeziness of it, and how easy that makes it to slip into that hack and slash trance. It's actually nice to feel like the killing machine. At the same time, the hard mode completely transforms how the game is supposed to be played. While the normal mode is a hack and slash annihilation fest, hard mode is a challenging game of actually thinking and planning your best moves and options. Optional attacks, combos and moves aren't so optional anymore, as relying on just special abilities and instant revives is nowhere near as viable. It's like playing a completely new and different game, and it's honestly a real achievement that both are so different and yet they feel so good in their own ways. Stellar Blade's default breeziness works well with its emphasis on exploring, as there is just something that completely encourages you to investigate every inch of an area and immerse yourself in the world. The incredible soundtrack helps with completing the immersion, as each region has its own theme that changes as the story progresses. Music during boss battles is also a treat, injecting adrenaline and intensity even if the difficulty doesn't, creating a ridiculous spectacle of obliterating enemies, sometimes in sync with the music beat. The exploration loop is completely enjoyable, even if the environment does blend and look like something you have already seen at some point during your playthrough. Look, there's a group of monsters in a very suspicious looking corner, but it ends up being a few button presses and you refill your dopamine levels. Rinse and repeat, song after song, and oh my, would you look at the time, it's 6 AM again and I have to go to work. Stellar Blade is a vibe and it just completely lives off of it. No thinking, no preparing, just slashing until you go deep into the trance. The story, while at its core could look generic, simple and linear, is very far from it. Here's a quick rundown. You are Eve, an elite soldier of the 7th Airborne Squad, sent to Earth to rid of the monsters. Left to fend for herself while achieving this arduous task, it is up to Eve to free Earth. This might look like your usual cliché sci-fi story, backed by the refreshing combat, but the developers have emphasized that it would be a story-driven action-adventure game, and they were spot on. The best thing about Stellar Blade is that you don't know what awaits you next. As the game reveals the bigger picture, you're left in awe witnessing the curtain slowly and figuring out the plot. The whole experience of the story coming to an interesting end feels extremely satisfying, like watching a great sci-fi movie or a TV show. The story at play here evolves into a complex tale, making the whole post-apocalyptic voyage with Eve an incredibly thrilling and adventurous ride. Your mind gets completely blown away every time a reveal is made that shifts and redefines the whole narrative structure of the game. But the story is nothing without the characters. The game packs a host of unforgettable characters who continuously shape this fantastic story. While their first impression might feel superficial, you get to see and hear their perspectives of the Storm realm very soon. Each character has enough room to grow, and their stories and arcs become deeper and come to a full circle in the finale. Every character is like a puppet here and was exceptionally designed to play their part in this magnificent tale. It also offers several paths to decide your future with a multi-ending story. You are in complete control to decide how your story ends. The RPG elements offer a unique blend of shaping your own unique playstyle with capabilities of your character against various types of monsters. As you gain XP and skill points, new abilities are unlocked. You can learn new beta skills like ranged electric slices, a multi-stab strike or a rising backflip. If you hold the button down on the last hit, it further diversifies playstyle and combos while also getting some survival tools, like an ability for countering unblockable attacks with purple flashes, or blink for teleporting behind an enemy after a successful parry. The more extensive combos require skill points to unlock. While trying out new skills, a training area is available where you get to test them. It also provides a great place to test your timing and combat skills against enemies under various conditions, such as when activating blink, getting the parry time down just right, and so on. Crafting works the way you would expect it does. You pick up various materials that can be used for the same elements and elements of varying tiers, to then use on recipes and blueprints acquired through exploration and opening chests for crafting. Gear customization works in the way where you can simply equip two types of equipment with several perks that lean into specific playstyles, like the protection type for decreasing damage from enemies, raising the shield's protection level, and even a chance of regenerating HP for 5 seconds when guarding or parrying at 20% less health. RPG elements aren't that revolutionary, but they're using the tried and tested system with a unique twist, and it just simply works well with how the rest of the game was designed. If all of this isn't enough to showcase just how much impact Stellar Blade will have on the industry, then let me reinforce it with this incredible behind-the-scenes story of how it came to life. The inspiration for the game came from a fear of being replaced by AI technology. The curiosity to turn that fear into a game set in a post-apocalyptic era was the goal. The project started with one question: what is humanity? Is humanity something that can be lost, or can it be replaced? Being South Korean developers, people call them crazy for trying to make a console game in a market dominated by mobile games. Making a AAA quality game with a small team and budget isn't easy. Ambition and passion played a crucial part in making it what it is today. After the game came into somewhat playable state, the developers contacted Sony and were called to play the game in person in Sony headquarters. And the rest was history. The success of Stellar Blade on the global market is an example that South Korean developers can develop console games in a market dominated by mobile games. It leaves a historic mark on the South Korean game development history and serves as a proof that passion, love, and ambition towards creating a fun gaming experience is what gamers will always recognize and support. For a price tag of $70, Stellar Blade is a full gaming experience that already has a lot of replayability and a robust amount of content compared to other games out in the scene for $70. It really begs the question how other AAA studios just completely manage to fail and deliver unfinished products. For story-driven players, the game offers about 25 hours of gameplay, while completionists could easily rack up close to 100 hours, with the sheer amount of replayability. It's really going to be interesting to see where the game goes in the future. It offers a lot of potential for expansions and DLCs. I don't think that Stellar Blade is exactly the most complicated game. At its surface, it's pretty simple. You start playing, run around, completely annihilate monsters while slowly fading into the trance with a flowing soundtrack that follows your every combo until your adrenaline-filled body hits maximum dopamine levels, only to realize that the sun is rising, it's 6 AM and you are again late for work. With developers that care about creating a fun action-packed experience without a care in the world about the backlash, and staying completely based against Western agendas, I wholeheartedly and passionately recommend Stellar Blade, and truly believe and hope that it can become and set a new standard in the gaming industry.